Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today we have the amazing Manny from the LillyPillies on the show. We're going to kick off with one of their songs from their brand new album. This is When We Were Young. Let's do it.
When the feeling is empty, when the weather gets you feeling down, and you think of the times when we were young, you would run to the future. Now you wish you could turn back time. When you think of the times when we were young, when the lights go out, now you see it. Whoa. We can't let go of this feeling. Whoa. Do you remember all your hopes and dreams, when happiness didn't come from the screen? With the lights gone out, now you see it. And appreciate the times when we were young. When you don't want to worry, and there's nothing you can do but hit the ground, so you think of the times of when we were young. Looking back at the days gone by, when the memories fade, can you feel it inside? Now you cherish the times when we were young. Do you remember the simple things we were waiting for? With the world in our pocket, there's nothing else to see anymore. When the lights go out, now you see it. Whoa. We can't let go of this feeling. Whoa. Do you remember all your hopes and dreams, when happiness didn't come from the screen? With the lights gone out, now you see it. And appreciate the times when we were young. When the lights go out, now you see it. Whoa. We can't let go of this feeling. Whoa. Do you remember all your hopes and dreams, when happiness didn't come from the screen? With the lights gone out, now you see it. And appreciate the times when we were young. When we were young. When we were young. When we were young. When we were young.
Good morning and welcome to the show. That was the LillyPillies, is, as. And that was When We Were Young from the brand new album. My name is Jade. Welcome to How to App on iOS. It's Friday here in Australia. Happy days. It's the end of the week for me. and still Thursday for the rest of you living in the past. So I said, it's How to App on iOS. I'm going to steal this from our guest today, the show where low expectations happen every day. There you go. I thought it was funny. So, we have a really wicked show for you all. I hope you are all doing well. I hope you're all getting primed for the weekend. I hope you've been creative this week. If you're not being creative, I hope you've been relaxing and doing other things that help your brain to feel good, yeah? Because that is the most important thing. So this artist I've wanted on the show for a while since he popped up out of the blue on Pete John's channel. Never heard of this before. I'm like, what the hell is a LillyPillie? What the hell is a LillyPillie? Well, you should look it up. We'll talk about it, in fact, because it's an interesting thing. I saw this artist pop up on Pete's channel. I was like, who is this guy? Where is this music coming from? It's Australian. Awesome stuff. I love an Aussie. You guys know that, being an Aussie myself. So it was only due time that I have this amazing artist on the show, and just in time because his album was released last week, which is great stuff. So, without further ado, let's welcome onto the show right now. Let me unmute him and get everything sorted right here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Manny from the LillyPillies. I wear my sunglasses at night.
Hello.
How do you do? How are you, Manny?
Good. Thanks for the intro.
Not a problem.
I'm
Yes.
well, and I'm excited, except for the 7 a.m. bit. I'm not so excited about that.
7 a.m. sucks. Yeah, I know. We here in Australia, it is 7 a.m., folks. And thank you so much, Manny, for actually getting up so early, going to the office, all that kind of stuff, which you've done. Now, I'm going to come straight off the bat. You haven't been feeling too well? Have you? Tell us.
Yeah, I kind of had this morning cough, so I apologize in advance. I've got the cough lollies here, and if I have a coughing fit, I'll just mute myself.
Did you get hit with the inconvenience?
I did.
Damn, that sucks, doesn't
I was
it?
bragging about it. I was saying, I'm fine. I've had the booster. Even if it hits me, it's no big deal. And then,
Bang.
bang.
It's always when you get overconfident that this shit hits. Yeah. Always. So I'm scared. I'm going out tonight into the real world, and I'm worried that it's going to hit me, but I'm going to double mask up. I'm actually going out to a gig tonight. That's so bizarre to say that, going out into the real world. All right, I want to jump straight in. What the fuck does the LillyPillies mean?
Good question. When you're coming up with a band name, it's really hard to find something that's original, something that hasn't been taken before. And I actually have it's actually a tree. It's like an Australian tree, and I actually have 3 or 4 of them in my backyard, and they're really good because they're the kind of bush and tree that you plant for privacy. So I've got them in my backyard, so I don't have to look at neighbors or anything like that, and they get really, really tall as well. And when I was coming up with a name, I thought I was really clever because I had come up with these fantastic names for bands, and then I go up and search them, and it's like, oh, no, can't use that one. It's already been taken by someone. And I thought that I would be getting the same outcome with the LillyPillies, but it was available, so I took it. And I also like the fact that it had the in front, like, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Cure. I thought, yes, I've got a name with the. How cool am I? The LillyPillies.
Do you eat the fruit?
No, God, no.
Because I see on websites it says that the fruit is edible, and
Really?
I don't believe that. I'm like, I'm sure I've had LillyPillies when I was younger, and they tasted like shit.
Nah, stay away from eating LillyPillies.
Yeah, just listen to the music, folks. Don't eat the fruit. Don't do it to yourself. Yeah, look, it is really hard to find a band name. I'm in this band with Kev Hart called Desir, and we were trying to come up with a name for the band and heavy metal names. We went looking for heavy metal names for weeks, and we were on metal encyclopedias, and every name we found that was good, it was like, oh, no one's going to have this. They had it. And we come up with Desir as this ancient goddess who slays men and destroys. And we were surprised that nobody had it. It was, and when when you get a name like that, you got to grab it. You got to bookmark it. You got to make a website. You got to copyright it. You got to cover all your ass because.
And I'm assuming that no one had taken the LillyPillies because no one has a clue what it is anyway. I never even heard of it. So
yeah, yeah. Well, I knew after I saw the fruit and after I saw the hedge, I knew what it was, but I had no idea. I grew up around it as well. I think most Australians have, but I'm sure most Australians have no idea what it's fucking called either, which is unique. All right, so let's hit up some of the usual questions that we normally do. And thank you all for being here in the chat as well. I will get to you as usual and say hello a little bit into the mix. But let's do my usual questions that I fire at everybody on the show. Manny, what does music mean to you, my friend?
Music means everything to me. Music is, for me, it's like a diary. If I hear a song that I've heard years ago, it just brings back all these memories. And who needs a diary now when you've got music? I can literally hear songs that, not just that I've written, but songs that I've heard 20 years ago, and it's flashbacks. A world without music is a boring world. So music is everything to me.
Yeah. The one thing I see people constantly answering on this show about music is just how important it is. Do you think people take music for granted sometimes in this world?
Oh, definitely. And you know what? I don't think it's actually important for everyone, believe it or not. And the reason why I say that is because one of the reasons why I love this community is because I can get online and into the chats and talk about music. Sometimes I can't do that in the world that I live in.
Yep.
People don't care. It's like, oh yeah, whatever. What's the score in the soccer or in the tennis?
Yeah.
I'd be like, do you want to hear the song that I've just spent the last 5 weeks doing? And then they don't even reply. So it's like, obviously, we care about it so much, and we talk about it, and it's part of our lives, and we get in the chats and we interact amongst each other. But it's not the case for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I say it all the time. I grew up in a house where my dad listened to horse racing 24 hours a day. And I would think, what the hell is wrong with you? But hey, it made him happy, made all of us want to kill ourselves. But that's another story. But you forget there are people who don't like music. It surprises the hell out of me. Do you struggle within your group of friends, your networks, in your real life situation to get people to listen to your music or understand your music? Do they?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care. I mean, and I don't say that in a nasty way. Like, yeah. I mean, one of my best friends and I have two brothers, right? Love them to bits. We get along really well. And, the last song that I released, I remember sending it to them. I said, look at this, listen to this song that I spent the last 6 weeks on. What do you think about it? Give me some feedback. No reply. It's like, they just don't care.
Yeah. Kiona Music just wrote, Engelbert Humperdinck versus horse racing line call. I've got to agree. So speaking about household music, so yeah, I was saying, let's go back to what we were just talking about then. I used to worry about, if my friends weren't, I'd be like, why don't you like my music? These days, I don't give a shit. I really don't. Because I just now wait for them to post their music so I can ignore that.
And even at home, it'll be like, oh yeah, sounds great. What's for dinner? Okay.
Because you pour a lot of heart into it. This is the thing. It is like being a construction worker. You out there, you're sweating. Like, for me, maybe it's my health condition, but I pick up a guitar and play for 10 minutes and I'm sweating like a pig. It is sweat, tears. It's blood, sweat, and tears. So when you get kind of zero reaction, man.
Yeah, I don't take it personally because no. As I said, it's not for everyone. It's people like other stuff rather than music. They have other hobbies and interests.
Yeah. I normally say to people, just remember, you're not listening to my music. You don't like my music. When you're down and depressed and you need music, I won't be there. Speaking of music, do you recall the music that was played in your household when you were growing up? And has it
Yeah,
influenced you? And
no,
well,
it hasn't influenced me at
who were
all.
some of the artists that were traipsing through your family home?
I remember my dad listening to like Elvis.
Oh,
I'm not really an Elvis kind of guy. Frank Sinatra, not really a Frank type of guy either.
no.
Um, yeah, so it hasn't influenced me at all.
Nothing. Nothing. So, all right, then what are your influences that you listen to now then?
Look, my music tastes are pretty broad,
Yep.
and especially now that I'm older, I appreciate a lot of music. I obviously, I love stuff that I grew up with, like in the 80s, and I started listening to stuff that was around on the radio back then, and then as I got sort of into my angsty teen years, I started listening to stuff that was a bit more heavier and darker. Things like The Cult and Susie and the Banshees and Joy Division and The Cure and Depeche Mode and all of that. And then I kind of got out of that. And then, I don't know, I really appreciate most styles of music. There's a couple of genres that I'm not really into. But apart from that, when stuff comes up, I'm genuinely interested in listening to it. Now, apart from if it's, I won't get into in case I offend anyone, but apart from the trash that you hear every like now and then on the radio, but apart from that, I'm
No. What is the trash? I want to dig the now. You know what I said at the beginning of the interview? You give me enough rope, I want to know the trash. Come on.
I don't like boy bands and stuff like that.
Oh, well, who doesn't?
Seriously, like when I watch a band, or they have to be playing instruments. I can't do the boy band thing.
Yeah.
And even I actually years and years ago, I think my wife and her sister dragged me to watch a Kylie show, and I'm like, oh, Kylie, yeah, I'm open-minded. I'm sure it's going to be a great night, because it's music, it's entertainment. You go there, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to see all these people dancing. I want to see instruments. And she did have a band, but they were like stuck in the back. And I'm like, oh, okay. When does this finish?
Oh, I love it. I've seen Kylie 3 times. I'm a big Kylie fan. It's shock horror. Isn't that weird? Death metal queen.
As I said, I don't dislike Kylie. It's just that when I go and watch a band, I want to see a band. I don't want to see feathers and dances and stuff. Like I don't know. Does that sound bad?
No, you can go to Mardi Gras for that.
I just want to see people, like good musicians. I want to see them playing guitars and stuff and keyboards and
That's it. I'm not going if there's feathers. I love it. Hey, I just want to say thank you to Doctor's Orders, who sent a kind super chat. Thank you so much. He says, many rocks. I agree. Who else? Dave Fox sent a super chat through as well. Thank you so much, guys. That's very kind of you to do so. So, no feathers. Speaking of, well, look, I'm the same as you, man. I can't. I want to see a band. I want to see. I want to hear music. I want to see if the band can recreate the music. I remember when I was young, I got free tickets. I won't go into the story, to go and see, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Vanilla Ice. Lord, was that one of the worst gigs I've ever been to in my life. Man, but they danced so cool. Like, they were all choreographed, and he did Ice Ice Baby, and it was, it was cool. And I got to go backstage and meet him, and he was amazing. His hair, I don't know how he kept it up that high. It was amazing. I was like in awe of his hair. But yeah, I just felt really disconnected and distant from it, because it was just...
And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not for me. That's all.
It was like Young Talent Time on steroids for me. Only Aussies will get that joke. Yeah, so speaking of, well, you are an Aussie, you're an Australian, you're in Sydney, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Sydney. I used to live there. Did you used to go and see bands when you were young? What were some of the Aussie bands, the pub bands that you went and saw when you were younger?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I actually grew up in Italy as well. So
Right,
I didn't do any high school years in Australia. I did them. I sort of grew up between both countries,
right.
and so I came back to Australia when I was 23, 24,
Oh wow.
and yeah, so I lived for many years in Italy, in Europe. But to answer your question, yeah, I used to go and see bands even back then in the 90s. I used to love bands like, the Hoodoo Gurus and Eskimo Joe, all the home bake festivals, all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. I miss that.
What was it like growing up in Italy? Like, was there a music scene there? Like, did you go and see bands there? What was that experience like as a teenager and being into music?
Yeah, I mean, I lived, I was born in Milan, which is a big city, but I actually grew up in a small town in Tuscany, so there wasn't much of a scene there, lots of olive groves and stuff. But we were all into music. Like I think we were more into music back then than now. I can see it with my own kids, and there are kids nowadays. They've got so many other options besides music. They got games and YouTube, gadgets and stuff. Back then, we we only really just had music.
Yep.
It's nothing else,
Yeah.
and and there was all sorts of genres going on at school, especially there was a heavy metal scene. There were the bands like, I don't know, Duran Duran or whatever, and everything else in between that. But you could pretty much have a music conversation with anyone because people genuinely loved listening to music.
Yep.
Nowadays, people like other stuff. Gaming, a lot of gaming. My kids do a lot of gaming and stuff, and Xbox and PlayStations and all that.
That song that we opened with today, I'm gathering that is about because part of the lyrics in there are about the screens and stuff that we have. What is that when we were young? What is that? I don't know. From me listening to it, it almost feels like a protest song, but it's a reminiscent song. Am I kind of? Is it a mix of both, or what is it
Yeah,
exactly?
I think it's a song that I wrote after I had a conversation with my kids, and one day I was annoyed at them because I wanted to go out, and they're like in front of the screens and stuff, and I'm like, you guys have got a crappy childhood compared to me, because when I was young, we didn't sit around all day on gadgets and stuff, and and the thing is that we really have the best of both worlds, because I'm not saying that technology is bad, otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation. It's
Yeah,
great,
yeah,
but we can also appreciate, and maybe we appreciate the technology even more because we didn't have it before, and now that we do, it's opened up this whole world, and we're all connected, and there's really, it's a positive thing. But for the generation that doesn't know any different, and they've had an iPad since they were 3 years old, I don't know, it's a little bit much, I think, and it is a song about reminiscing when times were perhaps a little bit easier, and we were outdoors more and stuff.
I saw you pause then. You went when times were almost like you were gonna say better, and then you didn't.
Well, when you're an old guy.
Did you just do a I'm not going to yell at clouds moment? Was it?
Yeah, I think and that's why I call the album Run to the Future, because I think that things are so bad now with things in the world that we kind of want to we kind of either want to go back to how it was pre 2020, 2019, or we want to go forward,
Yeah.
and skip all this crap that we're going through. And that's why I wrote a song called Wake Me Up in a Few Years' Time, because I think that I said that like during one of the lockdowns. It's like, I just want this. I just want to be in, I don't know, 5 years' time. I don't want to go through this crap.
It's almost like you knew what I was going to do because I have that song queued up absolutely next to play. Wow. We are on page today. We are. So tell us a little bit more about Wake Me Up in a few years' time, and I'll cue it up. It's ready to go pretty much.
It's a song that I wrote when after I had bought this little keyboard, Arturia keyboard that came with all this software, and they give you all these retro sounds, and I'm going through them. I'm like, oh wow, hey, look, I remember this sound back in the 80s and 90s, and I actually got I did it on purpose to make it sound, to give it that sort of retro feel, but try and sort of have a modern twist to it as well with the arrangements and stuff. But I kind of got lost in that. And sometimes when you write a song and then you get, I don't know, I was a little bit overproduced. Maybe I had to sort of strip it back, and it literally sat there for 4 or 5 months, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I was actually going to just shelve it. And it's like, I can't do this song. I need to move on. It's just taking too much up of my time. And then towards the end of last year, I was talking to our guitarist, Alessandro, and he said, no, this is a good song. We need to finish it. And he kind of just started, playing a bit more heavy guitar on it, and then we were happy with it. But with regards to the lyrics, it's literally about escaping with someone in the future, because now things are crap. In a nutshell.
It almost sounds like the script of Idiocracy. We'll wake up in the future and hopefully everybody's not eating butt burgers. Man, I only watched that film 2 days ago. All right, so let's play the track. Folks, grab a beverage, do what makes you happy, chill out. We're going to play the track. This is Wake Me Up in a few years' time, and we'll be back shortly, and I'll say hello to you all. So, enjoy. Let's do it. Let me just mute you like so. Bang, and let's play it.
Heard an early warning only yesterday. I was starting over and not being afraid. I don't want to lose you. I guess it's true, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm coming to. So I might as well just take my time. Can I pause the madness in my life? So take me with you when we know the time is right, to another place where leaving is behind. Take me with you when you're on the other side. Wake me up in a few years' time. Where you go, I'll go. Where you don't, I won't. Where you go, I'll go. Where you don't, I won't. When the season changes, I know it's time to breathe a little deeper. Today is mine, but time waits for no one to get on board. And I know the paranoia, I've been unsure, so I might as well just take my time. Can I pause the madness in my life? So take me with you when we know the time is right, to another place where leaving is behind. Take me with you when you're on the other side. Wake me up in a few years' time. Where you go, I'll go. Where you don't, I won't. Where you go, I'll go. Where you don't, I won't. shine. Wake me up in a few years' time. Hey, now I'm gonna make it shine. Wake me up in a few years' time. So take me with you when we know the time is right. To another place where leaving is behind. Take me with you when we're on the other side. And wake me up in a few years' time. Where you go, I'll go. Where you don't, I won't. Where you go, I'll go. Where you don't, I won't. Hey, now I'm gonna make it shine. Wake me up in a few years' time. Hey, now I'm gonna make it shine. Wake me up in a few years' time.
Boom! Let me just get my shit together. Yes, that was the LillyPillies. Wake me up in a few years' time. Welcome back, everybody. Let me just bring Manny back into the picture like this. There we go. Hey, there you are. Welcome back. Let me just make sure sound is all back on. There's too many buttons here today. I'm losing the plot. What an awesome song. What an awesome, awesome song. Tell us, I know you released a little documentary thing about all this album that kind of explains how it happened. But how long exactly has the planning of this album been in the works?
Not very long, because we, LillyPillies has only been going for about 9 months. Seems like forever.
Wow.
But it's, yeah.
That's
yeah.
mind-blowing.
So we kind of started just sort of releasing a couple of tracks here and there. But I liked to answer your question, probably towards the end of last year, I was thinking, hey, I've almost got enough material for an album. And then I was looking at, I found that a lot of the themes were similar. And I was subconsciously writing about, time, future, past, present, all of that. So it's almost like a concept album in the end. But and it's also, when you put an album out, I guess these days albums can be irrelevant because a lot of people release singles and EPs. But for me, it's almost like opening and closing a chapter. So if I've put out an album now, it's kind of like closing a chapter, and now I can concentrate on the second chapter and maybe make a second album, which is going to be perhaps completely different to the first album. So I look at it like that as well, like literally sort of a phase in my life.
Yep. And absolutely, with albums too, they are a phase of your life, and it's really hard to close the book on them sometimes because your life keeps going. Your life doesn't stop, and then you go, all right, cool, I've got a break now in life, I can just release this album. So it's hard because when is the time to actually shut it down and close it and release it? I think a lot of people struggle with that. Did you struggle with that while putting together this album, of letting go and putting it out there, or did it come together quickly?
No, it came together pretty quickly, and I think that when we had all the songs, and the last song was more of a song where I figured, okay, what does this album need now? It's got this kind of style in this song. It's got sort of, I wanted to write a song that kind of put all the genres of styles that are in the album all into the one song to represent that album. And I think that No One Like You, which is our latest song, kind of sounds a little bit like some of the other songs, but it's kind of, I've got songs on both sides of the fence, and that one is sort of sits in the middle, and it kind of is the typical LillyPillies song. I think, because it kind of combines all the styles of that we have in this album. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. And I see your partner in crime, Alessandro, is here in the chat.
Ciao Alessandro, ma mi devi anche aiutare qualche volta a venire a fare queste interviste, non mi lasciare da solo.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. But I can't speak Italian. So we'll briefly touch on this and then we'll come back to it. So Alessandro only speaks Italian, yeah? Is this correct?
Yeah, I said to him, Alessandro, why do you leave me alone to do these things? You need to help me out and be here with me. That's what I just said.
Clearly, well, as you said in the beginning, you've grown up in Italy, so there isn't a language barrier, so it's not a problem for you. Working with, you know what, I want to hold on to this because I want to finish off these early questions. We'll come back to this, yeah, because I really want to deep dive into this. So let's just cover these last two ones. When you were, what was the first album that you ever purchased, and do you remember the first album that you were given as a gift?
Yes, I was 5 years old, and I still remember it. It was ABBA Arrival.
You're so metal.
I actually think that's pretty cool.
It's a good album, man.
5-year-olds these days, they listen to the Wiggles and Hot Potato and High Five and that crap. And I'm like, you know what? At least I had ABBA Arrival when I was 5 years old. And I remember playing it to death. And, as a kid, I had this portable record player. And when it broke, I used to spin it with my finger to make it keep going.
We've all been there.
Keep playing the songs.
We've all been there, except for you kids. Get off my lawn. No, that's a great first album. And, ABBA's surprising. I know Pete Johns touched on this. A lot of their lyrics, what they sing about is actually quite dark, but it comes across in such a beautiful way. Everything's so happy and joyful, but there's a lot of dark stuff in there because there's a lot of dark stuff that went on in ABBA, unfortunately. So that was the first one you were given or bought? Was it?
Oh, no, that was given to me when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and listened to it for when I was that age.
And what about the one you purchased?
And then after that, I don't know if it was just me, but as a kid, I used to listen to the radio a lot and wait for songs to come on and record them on cassettes.
Yes.
I used to do that all the time, and I had all these cassettes that I used to spend hours just waiting for my song to come on. But to answer your question, I think the first album that I bought would have probably been an album by Depeche Mode called Black Celebration.
Right, yep.
Changed my life, that album, actually. It was a very dark album. It's one of those albums that doesn't have any breaks in between the songs. It kind of all flows into the... And they used a lot of... all these electronic sounds that they used to create. They used to have this rule where they used to say, we can never use the same sound twice. So all the percussions are them smashing things, and they used to sample them and record them. So you've got a lot of the percussions are like, there was this song of theirs called Stripped, which is basically the engine of a motorcycle going. Now, when I listen to this, I'm like, what the hell is this album? It's like, this is incredible.
Mind blown.
Yeah. And that was the first one, I think.
So you said you said with that album, it changed your life. Were you in a place that needed your life being changed? Like, we talked about this at the very beginning, how music has an impact on you. Were you in a place that you needed change? Was this album?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, I grew up in Australia until I was 12 years old. And then my family moved to Italy at that age. And it was hard, because it's always hard. Even small changes in life are hard at that age. Changing schools, you can imagine changing countries.
Yeah.
So I kind of just sort of delved into the music, and music was my escape. And I would sit for hours and hours with my headphones, just, listening to music, playing records. And so it was escapism, I think. And that album, the lyrics of that album are very, very meaningful, and it's not just it's a dark album. It's called Black Celebration. So it kind of was like something that changed for me. Like just even the way that they were making the music with the keyboards and all of that. It was just and I don't think they ever took off here in Australia. I think they were more sort of European and USA. I think in Australia at the time, people were listening to Jimmy Barnes and Cold Chisel and
God,
John Farnham and whatever else.
not me. I was avoiding that. I remember very clearly. So, did you have lessons Did you want to play an instrument? Did you want to play music when you were young? And did you have lessons at school? Did you play the record? Did you have to learn the recorder? That's the question on everybody's lips.
I did have to play the recorder. My parents kind of forced me to play the piano.
Right.
Between the ages of, I don't know, for a couple of 2 or 3 years, really. I'm actually not a great musician. I have a very good ear for music, and I can hear production, and but technically I'm not good at all, and that's why I rely on, Alessandro, and even my kids help me out because they're better musicians than me. But to answer your question, yeah, I did play piano, and I can play the keyboard and all of that. And I wish that I had stuck to it and played longer now in hindsight, And then later on, I was a bass player in a band, in one of the first bands that I was in.
What was the name?
Self-taught.
What was the name of the band? Come on.
We were called The Commuters.
The Commuters. Lovely. What was the inspiration behind The Commuters? Did you meet on a train?
Yeah, we kind of came from all over the place, and we had different backgrounds and stuff. And someone came up with, and I think at the time there was a really cool movie called The Commitments.
Yeah.
About a band in Dublin.
Yeah.
And it was such a good movie, and I think it kind of came from that. The Commitments, The Commuters.
It was a good movie, man. The singer, I can't think of his name. What a
Andrew
strong
Strong,
voice. Yeah, what a voice, man.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a bunch of Joe Cocker numbers on that? I think
Mustang Sally.
Yeah.
And,
man, what a great movie. Yeah. So you started playing bass, and were you gigging? What was the deal?
We weren't at the time we weren't gigging very much because we were pretty bad, but it kind of gave me, I guess, that's when I started singing as well, because we had a singer, then we lost the singer, and I remember playing bass and singing at the same time. Just I said I'll do this until we find someone, and then we never found anyone.
Famous
and then I
last words.
Concentrated on. I guess I was a better singer than a bass player, so I kind of stuck to the bass. And it wasn't until I came to Australia in the early 90s that I started taking it more seriously. And then we used to gig a lot back then. It was I was in an original band playing heavy rock, and did that for a while. And then after that, I was in a covers band, a working covers band, for about 4 or 5 years, and that kind of gave me a lot of confidence, but also a lot of experience. Because when you're in a working band, and you get told that by next week you've got to learn these 20 songs, and you've got to perform them, it gives you a lot of experience.
Yep.
Sometimes in front of very big crowds as well. I remember in 2000 when the Sydney Olympics were on, and we used to play this venue in Sydney called Scruffy. It was an Irish pub, Scruffy Murphy's.
I know Scruffies.
Yeah, and it used to be and you used to be able to smoke back then in the pubs. And it used to be so loud and big, and we'd get paid to play for 3 or 4 hours. And in between sets, I would go outside Scruffy Murphy's just to get some air. And the bouncer said to me, "You're not allowed to get back in, mate, because there's a queue of people." It's like, I'm in the band. I have to go. "Oh, no, you're not. You're not in the band." It's like, where have you been the last 3 hours? I'm singing in the band. But that's how big and rowdy and that's how it was back then.
Scruffy
Scruffy
Murphy.
Murphy.
Look at this joint, man. Oh, man, I've been drunk so many times at Scruffy Murphy's. Look at that. That's a photo of Scruffy Murphy's that represents it very well. A lot of kegs. Here's the stage. There you go. Yeah. Look at God.
Is that me on the stage?
Yeah, I can. Is that the? Look at this place. It's kind of an icon in Sydney.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been in Sydney for such a long time. It's probably changed since they've put the tram network through there as well. I'm guessing because it's on that street, isn't it? Or am I thinking? No, that's up. This is up on King's Cross, isn't it? Scruffy Murphy's.
No, that's you're right. It's near Central, kind of George Street.
Yeah. All right.
Way.
I'm thinking of. There's another one that's like that up near King's Cross, up near the Coca-Cola sign.
O'Malley's,
yeah. God, I met some chicks in a hotel room one night and stayed there and drank fine, cheap wine with them and ended up sleeping with both of them. That's another story for another time. But there we go. What I did forget to do was say hello to the great people here. So we'll do this and then we'll continue on. Hello, Dave Fox, Clayton Von Kluge, Kionra, music. Who else is here? So type something in the chat and I'll call your name right now, folks. This is the roll call. Do it now. Hugh Caldwell, Doctor's Orders. L'Reality is here. Also, who else do I see? Dan Eckberg, Welton Kinder, Cy Effin, good to see you. Alex Bacchus is here as well. Black Covers, Ingo says, shout me now. Thomas Christ is here. The Mix Club. Remember, L'Reality has a premiere after this show, so we'll be jumping over to that. We'll send you all over there as well. SM Borthwick, Gregory O'Sullivan, Brad Example, Joe Glenn, Tremor Bear. Who else? I'm trying to do my own sound effects today. Kim Harden Hudson, Russ 8889, PJ Kobe. I saw Pete Johns was here. Pete must have shit the bed. He's here early. What's it? You'll kill me for saying that. I think I've got most people. If I haven't shouted you out, just throw something in there now, and I'll get you before we go. Clayton Von Kluge, did I say you? Feisty Feather as well. Hello to you. Thank you all for being here. It's really
you just called out so many cool names. Hey guys.
Yeah, so many cool people all here for you, and that's awesome stuff. So I want to now talk about how the LillyPillies came into existence, because this is a long distance relationship. And, man, most people know that, just a normal relationship in the same effing house can be really effing hard. So how do you, tell us, how did you guys meet? How did this blossoming love story begin?
We met in Italy years ago. We were in a band in the early 90s, and we were friends as well. And then we kind of lost touch for a few years because there was no internet, and the world wasn't connected like it was back then. And then we kind of found each other again on socials, and I go back to Italy quite often, not so much in the last couple of years, we were just friends, and Alessandro's the type of guy where we can just talk music and crap and we can sort of have a conversation like we haven't seen each other in 2 days, even though we haven't seen each other in a few years. That's the type of relationship that we have. And he got in touch because one of our other old band members was doing a song with him. And they didn't have a singer, so they asked me to sing on this song of theirs. And it was kind of like a reunion of our old band from the 90s, but we kind of had a falling out with this dude.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I don't want to do this with him. Like, I don't even like his song. And I'm spending all these hours on, because he asked me to do it, I said, yeah, I'll do it, for old time's sake. And I did it. And I did it because for friendship, and that's the type of person that I am. But then he kind of sort of put it out there and excluded us. And I'm like, oh my God, after all these hours that I've just spent on production and singing and that, it's like, you know what, guys, I really just want to do my own thing here. So I started LillyPillies for myself. The reason why I started LillyPillies is because I felt like I had a lot of unfinished business from the past. I've still got like a shoebox full of old demos and lyrics and stuff. And the idea was to get that and to transform it into something, during all this time, the spare time that everyone had, a couple of years ago. And one day I just went into a music shop, and I asked the person, I just want to buy a cable to plug into my guitar just so that I can record on GarageBand. And he sold me the iRig.
Right.
And I'm thinking, oh wow, I can plug this into the Mac and I can record stuff. So that's what I started doing. I started doing it on mine with the help of my kids. And literally that's how it started. And then I had to sort of look stuff up on how to do this, how to do that. And then Alessandra came back into the picture a few months later. I said, I've got a couple of songs. Do you want to listen to them? Do you want to play on them? And we sort of went back and forth on the chats, and it's like he kind of brought the songs to another level, and then we just did another one and another one and another one, and now it's like we got to keep doing this. This is so much fun. And that's how it's been for the last 6, 7, 8 months.
And how have you found like the process of working overseas and sending stuff back and forward? And just before I answer that, ask you that, you touched on playing with people that you understand things. It's interesting now, like, and you had that person in there that you didn't click with. Have you taken that on board now, and do you trust your gut now with things like that and go, I'm not clicking with that person, I'm just not going to dive into it? Because, see, I work with Kev Hart, and the thing about me and Kev, whenever we chat, we understand metal, and we came from exactly the same background. And, like, he can message me and go, oh, check out this riff. And as soon as I hear it, I go, Morbid Angel, sounds like Morbid. And he's like, that's exactly what I was thinking when I wrote it. When you find people like that, it's so much easier to play, to create stuff. Is this the same thing with your musical partner?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've known each other for so long, and we've got sort of similar music taste. And the way that we work is very simple. I write the song. I usually even work out the parts that I'd like him to play, and I send it to him, and he might change it around a bit to suit him. Yep. And he'll send it back. I'll say, this is what I need. Can you send this to me by tomorrow or by next week? And he does. And then I sort of put the puzzle together, which is fairly easy to do nowadays. It's kind of, it just works somehow.
Yeah. And do you both use the same DAW when you're putting stuff together, or is it?
I don't even know what he uses, to be honest. I just get the file.
I don't care enough to find out. Just give me the file and let's do it. That's the thing. Like, you really don't need to. What do you think? You're in this community. Do you see the emphasis that people get fixated on DAWs and what they use, and then there's this snobbery that happens? Clearly, you're not like that, but I see it all the time. Someone's like, "Oh, but I use this, and I think it's far more superior." And it's like, no, just send me the fucking file, man.
Yeah. And I use GarageBand, but I have Logic, and I think I've got the other one that came with the keyboard that I bought, whatever it's called, Ableton, the yellow one.
Ableton. We all have Ableton. Nobody uses it.
And you know what? And I've clicked on it, and it's like, let's try this. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't be bothered to. I know how to use GarageBand, and I just don't have the patience to learn. Maybe for the second album, I'll try something different just to try something. But I don't have the patience to spend 2 weeks learning something new when I can just get on there and,
You wouldn't want to do my job, Manny. I have to learn a new app every day. It does my head in.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I sit here and yell, no, stop releasing so many apps. No, I'm not like that at all. Clearly there's no language barrier. Now, because you clearly speak Italian. What about now? I find this interesting too, because I would have loved to have both of you on here. But
Me too.
because there's a language barrier, that's not going to happen. I'd be sitting here and sounding like a dog going wah, or Charlie Brown's
I'd,
teacher wah 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 wah.
I'd be translating. And I think sooner or later I'll put the pressure on and get him to do something.
Tighten the screws, huh?
Yeah.
Learn English or I'm leaving the band. Is it going to be as dramatic as that? So the complexities of what about? Do you think with all this inconvenience that's gone on in the world, has it made you? Do you think it's? What have been the advantages of the COVID pandemic that has happened? Because it's a thing we talk about on the show. I feel guilty about talking about all the good stuff that's happened when all this sadness has gone on for so many people. What's come out of this change in the world that's been really positive for you as a creator?
Yeah, well, I think it's actually given me the opportunity to start LillyPillies. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have always had in the back of my mind, because I know what my capabilities are. I know that I can write songs. But to actually say to yourself, oh, I can write a song like that, I'm capable of doing this, but to actually sit there and do it and get out the software, the computer and the instruments and set yourself up and start something and start a YouTube channel and get onto all the socials and to actually, because it's not just about the music creation now. You got to put yourself out there.
Yep.
To actually put yourself out there, if it wasn't for COVID, maybe I still would have been creating, but just for myself, I would have been creating, and the files would have been sitting on my desk, on my laptop, and no one would have ever heard them, because I wouldn't have had the chance to do everything that you've seen so far.
And what about Alessandro? Because clearly we can't hear from him right now, but how has it changed for him? Because I know in Italy there was crazy stuff when the whole pandemic hit. I mean, they were featured around the world of what was going on there. So has it been a thing that's helped him through all this stuff as well?
I was actually there at the time. I only just got back from that trip in February 2020, and then 2 weeks later, all hell broke loose.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think now we're at a point in Australia where we're probably worse off than Europe at the moment here in Sydney anyway.
Yeah.
If you haven't had COVID, you're the odd one out.
I haven't yet.
I think everyone that I know has had it, me
Yeah.
included. But yeah, I think, I mean, he's been busy having kids, so he's just had his third child. So,
Wow, there's no guesses there what he's been up to.
so I think it's been a bit of a distraction for him as well. It's just, daddy duties and stuff, and it gives him the chance to do some music with his friend. I think he loves it.
So did both of you, play music? Is it a similar story with both of you? And then life happened and, you meet somebody, you have kids, you get into the world of having to provide, and then music just disappeared and then you both came back to it? Or has he been continuously doing music and that's just for you?
For me, it was a conscious decision, because when I was doing the cover band, when I was in the originals band, we were, like most bands, we were trying to make it and trying to get ourselves out there, and we didn't have all the means that we do now. Back then, you had to sort of get onto fit into a certain category and play a certain style of music to try and get onto a certain radio station. It wasn't like you could just put your music out there and stuff. And then when that didn't happen, I felt that I had invested so much in music, in my voice. I went to singing lessons, that I didn't want to just give it up. So that's when I decided that I was going to, for a few years, play in a cover band just to make some money on the side.
Yep.
And to get some work. And then then I got to a point where when you're playing a gig in front of hundreds of people and everyone's enjoying it, but you're actually looking at your phone thinking, how long have I got to go still? I've got 20 minutes left and I can go home. You know that it's time to stop.
Yeah. Yep.
And I got to that point. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. actually the part that I actually enjoy is not so much performing; it's creating music. And then yeah, life happened, and I didn't really get a chance to create much anymore. And now this is, I actually feel really, really lucky that I get to do this still now. Not only do I get to do it, I get people that want to listen to my music, which I don't take for granted at all,
Yeah.
you know. And for him, to answer your question about him, I actually don't know the full story, but um, I think he was in a couple of bands as well after I left Italy to live in Australia. I think he had a couple of projects going that didn't work out. With music, I think there's a couple of things with musicians. You're either really, really good friends and you do it because you actually have fun, or you're in a band with other people. Like I had to audition for the bands that I mentioned, and you're not. I mean, you become friends anyway, but you have a goal of trying to somehow make it, or you know. So and bands last usually what they've got a lifespan of 3-4 years. Then you either make it or you don't make it, and then you move on maybe to a different band or whatever. So I think that's the case. And with us, we're friends. We're going to be friends with or without LillyPillies. So
Alessandro says, very fun to play music with you.
it is. We're having
It
a
is,
ball.
yeah.
We're driving around in cars making music videos.
You can tell. You can actually tell that you guys are having fun putting together these videos. I see you've got some, there's bits of you taking little snippets, putting it in with like your stock footage. It's amazing that we can do this. It really is. It's mind blowing.
And I said, and he goes, "Oh, what do you want me to do?" I said, I want you to get your guitar and play the guitar in the car." And he was like, "What? In the car?" In the front? It's like, no, I'm in the front. You're in the back.
I'm going to play another track. Now, this one's a little different. So this is By Your Side, and it's featuring 15th Bend. Tell us a little bit about how this collaboration came.
15th Bend is a very, very cool musician, and I chat to him regularly, nearly every day, actually. And he's just become a dad in the last couple of weeks.
Right.
And he sent me a track, and he said to me, "Manny, I have this track that I've been sitting on for the last 4 or 5 months. Do you want to take a listen to it and see what you can do with it?" And he sent it to me. And first I was like, whoa, like, where's the chorus? Where's the verse? What do you want me to do? And he goes, "I have no clue. All I've done is this instrumental track. You can do whatever you want with it. You have blank canvas." So I literally looked at the blank canvas for a couple of days. I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I literally don't know. And then I kind of put my head down. I'm like, okay, what do I know about 15th Bend? He's a very cool guy. He's a great musician. He's about to become a dad. And I was writing all these songs about, how crappy things are now and how in the future things will get better. And I actually wrote a song about fatherhood. And the chorus says, "Today and tomorrow, I'll always be by your side." And there's a verse in there that says, "What kind of world do you get now? It's so different to the one that I knew." And I thought they were really strong lyrics. And when I sent it to him, I was petrified. It's like, oh, what happens if he doesn't like it? So I was really worried that I didn't want to disappoint my friend 15th Bend. I'm like, if you don't like this, it's cool. We can change it. And he's like, "Are you kidding? This is like the best song ever." And I'm like, hang on, but this is just like a guide vocal. I'll re-record the proper vocal. And it never, that guide vocal ended up being just one take.
That's really common. That's such a common thing with vocals, those guide
which
tracks.
is really weird for me, because with LillyPillies, I go full production. Like I spend days mixing vocals and, working on. It really takes me a long time to put a song together, because I really want it to be perfect. And that is perfect in its own way, because it's raw, and I think we're really happy with how that turned out.
All right, well, let's give it a spin. Folks, kick back, enjoy, and we'll be back with you in exactly 5 minutes, because that's how long this song is. So I'll just sort this. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're good. And here is By Your Side featuring, so it's 15 bands featuring the LillyPillies. Enjoy, my friends. See if I've got everything sorted. Yes, I do. Let's go.
When you came into the world, the sun was shining through the clouds. What kind of world do you get now? So different to the one that I knew. Today and tomorrow, I'll always be by your side. Whatever you have to go through, I'll be your guiding light.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful track. Amazing stuff. Really awesome. And clearly everybody loved that in the chat. I'm sure there's a few people with tears in their eyes right now. What a fantastic track.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's great stuff. 15 Band is a really amazing artist as well. So if you haven't checked out 15 Band, do it.
Check him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Where am I up to here? Let's. So I've covered this. Creating videos for this. So what do you use to put together your videos? Is it a Mac, iPad? What software do you use? And how long does it take to put together a video? And where do you draw influences?
I love creating videos as much as I love creating music. Oh no, that's not true. I'm sort of I'm getting to a point now where I'm sort of starting to I need some more ideas. But I tell you what, when I started making videos, I was using a lot of stock footage, and I thought I was very clever. I thought, look at me, I can go online and get all this stock footage, and how cool am I? And then all of a sudden I started seeing the same stock footage in other videos. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay. So I've started doing it less and less and less, and now, you know what? We carry around these things in our pockets, these amazing things in our pockets all the time, and we can do so much with them, you know, and we can create our own stuff. And in the last few videos, you will see less and less stock footage and more of me taking stuff. In the last one, there's me with a telescope, where that telescope, which is actually the theme of the whole concept of our album, is just a telescope that one of my kids had in their room for the last 10 years and never been used. I'm like, what, should we chuck this out? Should we sell it? What should we do with it? I'm going to use it for a video.
Yep.
You know, you can use anything these days, whether it's, as long as you have some sort of symbol or concept, you can take that and create something with it. And I don't know if I should spoil this or not, but we're working on a new video now. I can't help myself.
Exclusive time.
Alessandra's filmed with a drone. So he's
awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to finish that. It's in the making at the moment. We were using these drones.
It's funny, isn't it? Cool. I remember being young and well, I barely remember being young, but listening and seeing people do things and go, how does a person just be that cool? How do they so effortlessly be cool? How can I be cool like that person? And it is funny what you say about how you can take something simple like throwing someone in a car and playing a guitar, and it just looks cool for some reason, you know.
I don't know if I look cool, but
no, it does. No, but hopefully you understand where I'm going. How cool sometimes doesn't come from a place of being cool. It comes from fluke, luck. You know, it's not really.
Even sometimes filters, like things like black and white.
Yep.
You know, can make it really look cool, and also if you've got multiple images that kind of don't blend in well together, if you put the same filter, it doesn't have to be black and white, but if you put the same filter or change the filter and put another filter on there, like I use iMovie, at least it makes it more like it's the same video and not bits here and there.
Yep.
And that's something that I've been doing as well.
So what about the time frame to put together these things? Because you start off by saying, possibly more than music. It is consuming. Like, what's the average time it take you to put together a video clip these days? Do you obsess over it and go to sleep and have nightmares about it?
No, not at all.
Jeez, I do.
But I do. I tell you what, Jade. With even with the music takes more time than the video. The video doesn't take that much time really. But for me, it's like a puzzle. I have the core of something, whether it's a song, structure, or even a video, and I just it's like Lego. It's like you just build and build and build and build on it, especially with the production. To me, the production is very important. I actually enjoy production more so than singing. I love just sitting down at night on the lounge with my headphones and just muck around with sounds and try and put everything together. So I don't work well. First of all, I don't really work to any deadline, and but I do spend a lot of time just doing things bit by bit. So even if when I do, I'll record a vocal, and then I'll let it sit there for a day, and then the next day I'll start mixing it, and then the following day it's like, no, I think it needs a harmony here. It's literally like building a puzzle. I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
No, it absolutely does. And I mean, I get off on that too. I really get off on the mixing down and all that stuff. But it can become, for a lot of people who are just starting out too, it can become a hindrance because you can fall into the trap of swatting over it. And I'll just give people who aren't Australian a bit of a definition of the word muck around. Because there's probably people out there going, what the fuck is muck around? It's like messing around, you know. It's an Australian thing. But you can fall into the hole of mucking around too much and you kill a mix. It's a fine line.
And it's not for everyone either. There's like sometimes I really admire just artists that are able to get a guitar and start playing acoustic guitar and making the whole song almost live. But I'm not that type of artist, unfortunately. I don't even have those skills really. If I started playing something, and you know, some people are guitarists, some people are drummers and bass players and singers. I consider myself a singer, and I wouldn't be able to do what a lot of other people do and just get up there and start.
So when you're putting together a song, and I've talked about this on this in show many times. People are probably sick of hearing it. I like to pile stuff into songs and just keep piling stuff on. And it wasn't until I actually went into a studio, I decided to actually record an album myself. And I thought, hey, instead of going into a studio to record, I'll get all the gear myself. This is quite a few years ago. And then I actually paid to go into a studio and take my stuff in there and play it to the engineer to just get his opinion on what I should do. And he listened to it and just went, all sounds great, but you've got way too much in there. You need to learn to rip stuff out and do that.
Definitely.
Have you struggled with that? Taking stuff out?
I have. And one of the first couple of songs that we did, we remixed for the album. And, I opened up the song and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? I've got so much crap in this song. Take this out. You don't need this. You don't need strings here. You don't need 20,000 vocal tracks, drums. And I literally stripped it all back and it sounds so much better. And also you can just hear things in the mix better.
Yep.
I'm thinking of a song in my head now, which is I'm Hypnotized, which is a song that we did. And it's now it punches. Before it was just, overproduced. And I think hopefully, and it's all a learning process, you just gotta, it's trial and error. I think I've gotten to a point now where I kind of know what I'm doing after all this time.
I kind of know.
Yeah, like I think now I've got this formula that sort of works for me anyway. But before it was literally, I'd be like, sometimes I've got so many tracks on one song. I'm like, what the hell? You don't need all this stuff.
Yeah. Look, and when I was younger too, look, I came from a world of heavy metal, and I used to look at pop music and go, man, the reason pop music is so crap, it's because it's hardly got anything in it. But as you get older and you start to listen to more diverse music, and that's what I try to do, and still love metal more than anything else, but you really start to see it's not that the songs are simpler, they just more room to breathe, and it gives people the I guess it gives them the chance to hear what's happening so they can actually sing along. They're not bombarded with confusing stuff. I mean, there's a reason why Rush aren't the number one band on the pop charts, because they're too fucking complex for people to sit down, and people's brains are so full of shit already that they don't need complexity. They just need simple cornflakes factor, I call it. What was the ad cornflakes used to have? The simple things in life are often the best.
Unless you get too simple, then and then you've got stuff that like
here we go.
I've heard songs that are like one chord now.
Hey, it works
all the way through.
Yeah, there are songs that are like 3 chords that are some of the biggest songs in the world. It's
I was blown away by your online gig last week where you had some of your stuff. It's like you build it and then you bring it down, and then you build it up again and you bring it down, and in a way that's kind of what I like to do as well. And I was listening to, it's like, whoa, Jade. It's like, yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Doing.
I have no idea what I'm doing. It's, I don't. You know what? I don't think I ever want to have a total idea of what I'm doing. I think not fully understanding where you're going is exciting. When you know it all, life sucks. It's got to be really boring to know it all. People who sit there and profess to be like, I'm a professional, I'm a master engineer. It's like, really? You're limiting yourself to not like be, you're fallible? Like, what's the deal? I think that's exciting about being an artist, not knowing it all, hopefully. Do you have hopes to play live?
That is a very good question. I don't feel the need to play live because I've played live for so long, for so many years. I could get up on stage and play live, no problems. For me, I was never confident. I'm a bit of an introvert, so I kind of, especially in the early days, I was a little bit shy. Now, after playing live for so long, I could get up and play live, no problems, and I wouldn't be shy up on stage. Logistically, it would be hard because Alessandro is on the other side of the world, but it would be easy to happen. I know so many musicians in Sydney because of my past.
Yep.
And even recently, I was chatting to someone who commented on the album and like, get ready because I might need a drummer. Yeah, sure, I'll play. I know bass players, I know drummers, I know guitarists. I could put a band together tomorrow if I had to.
Have you guys considered the possibility of bringing together the software that we use to try and do something live online?
We had a brief discussion about it. I haven't really had a lot of time in the last few weeks because of putting together the album and the video and all of that. But we have had a brief chat about it online, and it's something that Alessandro would like to do. He said to me that would be fun if we could do that. I'm not sure how. He mentioned something about, what if I play and video myself playing the guitar and then send it to you and then you sing on it? It's like, well, that wouldn't really be live. I have to sort of dig into that a bit deeper and see how others do it. I'm really not that tech savvy, to be honest. So I'd have to research that.
Yeah, it's a tough one because you've got people who would say, well, but it's not live, even if you did do it that way. But does it really matter in the scheme of things of like, is it 100% live or is it a performance that's been, I mean, it's how you promote it that, this, I think it'd be interesting to do that, to record the parts of you putting together a live thing like that and then sell it as something different. I'm always looking for ways to do things a little bit different and try and step outside the box and not do what everyone else is trying to do. So there's definitely a market for it. I'm sure you get people watching even if it was done that way. And and that little documentary that I put together for the album launch, I was actually hoping to get to Italy in the next couple of months, and then it didn't happen. But I was gonna do like a whole meet Alessandro face to face online kind of, reality TV style. That would have been cool, but didn't happen. Yeah, it's hard to get things done. I know. Look, I've been sitting here collaborating with a song with Josephine de Smet over the last few weeks. And because I do this show, it's been really hard to like finish those plans. You make all these great plans to do things and they don't happen. Yesterday, I was finally able to finish the guitar tracks and send it off to her. I swear to God, Manny, I sent it off and I felt it was like so much relief. It was like the biggest fart of relief to send that off to her and know that was done. And then I looked at my list of other things to do and went, shit. Now there's just more, because it's like that when you're putting together an album, when you're getting ready to release things, you've got all this stuff, publicity you want to do, you want to get people hyped for it. How much work did it take to hype up this album that you've just released?
Well, I don't even know if I've hyped it up enough, to be honest. So I'm not really sure, but I think I've done. At the end of the day, I'm just really happy to have created the album that I created. I think that I've done the best that I can do. I'm for the first time ever. It's probably the first time ever that I'm actually happy with the music that I've done. And for someone that's been doing it for quite a while, it's actually it's really satisfying to be able to have made that album. And we're going to keep promoting it. We've got a couple of more videos coming out. We've got 3 more, I think, in the works. And, I've sent it to local radio stations. Some of it are already playing it at the moment. There was one last night, Central Coast Radio. He played it.
Awesome.
One in South Australia, Tasmania. All the local radio stations here. But the thing is, the world is a big place, and it's just trying to get it out there. And I'm also realistic about stuff. When you're an unsigned artist, your expectations can't be too high. But I'm really enjoying just doing what I'm doing, and I want to keep going. And doing it for the right reasons, and the right reasons is because I want to be creative, And I'm right. I think I mentioned earlier that I had all these old demos and stuff that I wanted to do. I haven't even looked at those because all these songs on this album are all brand new, because they are so much. I'm writing better now than I ever have in the past. I want to keep moving forward. I don't want to look back at that old stuff.
Well, speaking of the album, so the album's out now, and there are links in the description, folks. So if you don't have it, go stream it, go pay for it, go grab it, and show the LillyPillies some love. I'm going to play another video track. We've got one more, and then we'll continue chatting, and then we'll go out with. I think we'll go out with. So your next single is "No One Like You," is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll go out with, we'll play this one now. This is Don't Let Me Down. Tell us a little bit about Don't Let Me Down.
Don't Let Me Down was the second song that Alessandro and I did together. It was after a song that we put out called Maybe Someday, which was, for some reason, getting us a lot of attention. It's had kind of like a lot of streams on Spotify, especially. Maybe some playlists have picked it up, or I don't know, but it seems to be still going now, months later. It's our number, like the song that's been streamed the most. So when it was time to follow that up with another song, we kind of, at least I felt a bit of pressure to write something that was catchy and just as good. So that's sort of how that came about. I wanted something edgy, but also funky at the same time. And with the video, I think I mentioned this before, I took my kids to watch a James Bond movie, and while I was there, I was kind of filming myself with the camera, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing?" It's like, "I need some footage for the video." It's like, "Can you hurry up?" It's like people are starting to come in. So when you see me in that video that you're about to see now with the popcorn, it's not a green screen. It's actually me in a real movie theater.
You can tell it's real because his arm is disappearing into the background.
And then I kind of use effects to for the screen. Oh, and the last shot where you can see me and Alessandro together, that's me that's also not a green screen. That is a projector. You know how you have those projectors to do presentations?
Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. I set up a projector at home, and I projected Alessandro like he was in a movie theater, and I sung in front of the projector. That's also not a green screen.
Nice, nice. All right, folks, kick back. This is Don't Let Me Down by the LillyPillies. We will be back momentarily, so enjoy the tunage, and we'll see you shortly. Boom. Get all the buttons ready. Let's do it. Yeah.
I lost my way. I'm somewhere else. I'm all alone. I tell myself, when you're with me, it feels like home. One of these days you'll be coming round. I'll do anything to let me down. I don't wanna sleep alone in town. One of these nights when the stars align, looking for a guy with the city lights. I don't wanna sleep, let's take our time. Everybody's looking for another chance. Always wanna try and be a better man. Now is the time. Everybody wants to leave the past behind. Everybody wants to live a better life. Lay down in darkness. When someone's waiting for you. Lay down in darkness. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Lay down in darkness. When someone's waiting for you. Lay down in darkness. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. When I'm broken, you lift me up, make it better. When I'm broken, I close my eyes and we're together. Don't let me down. I wanna wait another day. I want everything to go my way. I wish to be there for my mistake. I can hear an echo on the other side. With the sound of your voice, it'll be alright. What's it gonna take to make you mine? You decide. Everybody's looking for another chance. Always wanna try and be a better man. Now is the time. Everybody wants to leave the past behind. Everybody wants to live a better life. Lay down in darkness. When someone's waiting for you. Lay down in darkness. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. When someone's waiting for you. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Lay down in darkness. When someone's waiting for you. Lay down in darkness. Don't let me down. Don't let me down.
Boom! I can totally see why this clip is getting some kind of recognition, because it's really easy to move to, and it's like that song was made for radio. Absolutely made for radio. You can hear that 100%. Let me make sure your sound's on. All good. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think that song's made for radio? I think it is.
I don't know, to be honest, because I don't know. I've had some comments recently where in the stream, not so much in our community, but where people have said, "Oh, your music is." I'm really digging the fact that your music is not the type of music that people are making now. It's really original, and people just don't make that kind of music. I'm like, what are people making now? What are they listening to? Like, I don't know what if the LillyPillies fit in any category. We're probably not too rock enough or pop enough or alternative enough or heavy enough. I don't know, Jade. I honestly don't know.
Music is a crazy soup at the moment. I don't think there is a. It seems like radio play especially is very confused. It doesn't know what it is, and that I think that's a sign of the times that we went through the 70s and the revolution of drugs and all that stuff and stopping the war. The 80s was excess cocaine and feather boas. The 90s was angst and heroin. The 2000s, I can't even remember that stuff. It's so weird that the early 2000s, like everything was crap for 10 years. I don't know. That's my opinion. And then we got to the last decade that's just happened, and it just feels like it's this collective of all the last 40 years all into one. And now there really is no genre. It's just everything's a bit of everything. It's interesting. I don't know how has the music that comes out now, has that been the death of radio, or has the internet killed radio? It's interesting because radio exists.
I asked my kids, because they're in year 8. I got two of them are twins, and I say to them, what do your friends listen to? Like, what are kids listening to nowadays? I have no clue. And they say to me, it's mostly hip hop. So I guess that's where that comes in. I think hip hop has become mainstream, and what we're doing in our community is now alternative.
Do your kids like your music?
Yeah, I think they do. They don't like hip hop. In fact, one of my kids, he goes to guitar lessons. He plays on a lot of the tracks as well. All the acoustic guitars in the tracks are him. But he doesn't like. He says to me, "Dad, I don't like new music. I only like old music." He likes the Beatles and that sort of stuff. Yeah, he can play, Blackbird and Yesterday and all of that on his little acoustic guitar. But when I asked him, he said that kids now listen to Billie Eilish and rap.
Yeah,
and I guess I don't fit into that category. So,
do you think your kids go to school and promote your music and try and
God no. Oh no. I'm not cool. I'm the dad. I'm probably like, oh, Dad.
You never know though. There could be some of their friends out there going, "Oh, far out. That dad's pretty cool."
Maybe they'll appreciate it when they get a little bit older, but they're at the age now where anything that dad does is not cool. So,
well, do you include them in some of the process of making music as well, don't you?
Yeah, I include them for a few reasons. First of all, because when I started LillyPillies, they were actually, they had just started guitar music lessons, one keyboard and one guitar. But also, a lot of the times I actually needed them to play some stuff that I'm not that good at. And this was before Alessandro, he took over kind of thing. But even now they help me out. Like some of the video clips where I'm in, I asked them to video me. I said, can someone hold this please while I'm miming this song or whatever. So they're still helping me out. With the telescope, I asked one of my kids to come to the beach, and he's like, "Oh, really, Dad? Yes, you got to come to the beach. I need you to film me with the telescope." Okay. And some of the acoustic guitars, it's like, I need you guys to help me out here, guys. And they're good kids, my kids. I'm really lucky. But I don't know if, they want to become musicians. But it's one of those things that you appreciate when you get older, I think. They're at a funny age now. So
Oh man, it's just going to get funnier. Trust me. I've been there. Mine are gone. So, no longer a responsibility. Wow, that's a lie. I'm being silly now. When you're putting together the music and you send it off, so what exactly is the process? So you record your parts first. Is there a similar process, or does it come from the other? Does it come from Italy first? And
it comes from. I usually send Alessandro a full song. Like literally, I'll write a song. Most of the production will be done on it. It'll be like a good rough demo. I don't know if that makes sense. A demo of a full song.
Yep.
And I'm encouraging him to actually, start co-writing. I said to him, get ready, because for the next album, I really want to change the process. Otherwise, it gets boring for both of us. I want you to come up with some riffs. I want you to send them to me, and then I can develop the song that way. But at the moment, I'm pretty much 100% the songwriter of the band.
Cool. All right, let's jump to. I normally ask people if they've got 5 apps that they use that change their life, be it on a computer, be it on an iOS device or Android. Do you want to throw some of them at me? If they're on iOS, I can bring them up on my screen.
I'm going to be so boring because I'm not a tech guy at all. So my answers are super, super boring, and I apologize in advance.
No. There is no wrong answer.
So I guess we've discussed iMovie, which is both on my phone and on the Mac, which I use. I also another thing that I do for promotion is once I do a video clip, I also like to do a little bit of a trailer for it.
Yep.
Like a 30-second trailer, and I use it for socials, and that's been pretty cool. And I use InShot, which is an app for that kind of makes it.
Yeah, I've seen
into
that.
a square. It makes it into the square for Instagram. Otherwise, it's vertical.
It's that one, isn't it? It's InShot, yeah, and it's free, and it's got a in-app purchase as well.
Yeah. What else can I list for you? YouTube Studio, Guitar Tuner.
What do you think about YouTube Studio? Because it's getting better.
It doesn't give me all the answers that I want. It's very limited.
It doesn't give me all the answers I want too. I want more views. I wish it could give me more views.
I don't understand if I'm doing something wrong, but it kind of, I go in there and I look where my audience is coming from, which countries, and it only limits it to like a certain percentage, and then it doesn't tell you the rest. I don't know why. Yeah,
the desktop still is the way to look at it, unfortunately. Look, I've got an update waiting here. I wonder what the update is. Seems though we're sitting here. What is the update? Does it say? No update list. Bug fixes and stability improvements. I hate when it's just that, because it's like, what are you not telling me there? What secret squirrel stuff are you doing that I'm probably not going to approve of, and you've just put it under bug fixes and stability improvements? Sorry, YouTube. I know you're my boss and everything. What else do you have for us? You said guitar tuner. You said a guitar tuner. Have you checked out the new Nembrini tuner?
No. Is that good?
Yeah, I did a show on it. So it's an AUV3 as well.
Let me write that down.
It's free, and it's really good. There it is. I'll bring it up for you. It's called NA Tuner. There it is.
Oh, wow.
And you can use it in GarageBand. You can use it in whatever you like. And it's really, really accurate. Probably the most accurate one I've used. Within I think it gets within 0.01 cents. So
oh, wow.
That's
okay.
Super cool. But that's just dropped. So there you go. I did a show on it. I think it only goes for 7 minutes. It's just me wanking off on a guitar. Just like every day. All right. So where are we? 8:46. So we've got a little bit of time left to have a bit of a rant. Let me just come back here. What's next? Now this album's out. What do you see for the future of LillyPillies? What do you hope will bring after this album? And do you have high expectations? I know you said you kind of set some low bars, but do you have a plan for the future going forward?
I don't really have a plan. As I said, my expectations are low only because, I mean, I'm trying to be realistic. Okay, I'm an unsigned artist. I think my album is good, but that's not enough. I don't think that is enough these days. You need the push. You need a lot more than just. I'm sure there's plenty of artists that are, that have made great music, but they haven't had hits or anything like that. And and also timing is everything. I think in music, there are certain bands I think that if they had come out, I don't know, 10 years earlier or 10 years later, maybe they wouldn't have had the success. Who knows if the Beatles would have been big, 10 years later, or I don't know. That's probably a bad example, but there's plenty of other examples that I could make. So there's other factors that will contribute whether or not, things happen or they don't happen. In terms of the future, I just want to keep going. I just want to open up a new chapter, make a new album. I want to finish my music career, or if that's what you want to call it, and be proud of what I've done, and be personally satisfied and say, you know what, you've got something to show for all your hard work in all these years. I've been in situations where, my wife would say, oh yeah, Manny used to be a musician. It's like, first of all, she's using the term used to be, which was the case.
Yeah.
Because I was no longer a musician, and people would say, oh, cool, what can we hear stuff? And I'm like, oh, no, because I don't really have anything to show, because it was bands from years ago. Now, I am a musician. I do have my own band. We're called the LillyPillies, and I've just made an album that I'm very proud of, So that's where I'm at with it, and I just want to keep going with it for myself. Alessandra and I are having a ball. I'm writing probably the best songs that I've ever written, in my opinion. I mean, if you go back to the stuff that I wrote earlier, I don't think it's as good as the stuff that's out now. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And we're gonna make some more music videos, and then I think I'm gonna do a couple of collabs again, and then maybe start writing another album. Why not?
Yeah. Look, one thing about you that in the short time we had a chat on the phone before the interview, I can tell that you are excited. I can tell that you love this, and I can tell that it makes you happy. Like, I can see the joy in the way you presented your album launch video, and just, the time that you took it within that. If you guys haven't seen that, all the links to all of Manny's stuff or LillyPilly stuff is in the description. But go and check out the video of the album launch, where you're like taking all these shots of you walking down the street at God knows what time that was. It was probably 2 a.m. in the morning, and you're like going, oh no, and this song came about here, and that's an excitement, man. That's somebody who's loving what they're doing. And I say it on the show every day: do the things that make you happy, and if it's not making you happy, go do something else for a little bit. But yeah, I can definitely see the joy that it brings you.
Yeah, and why not? Because I see what other people are doing, who maybe are similar to me. Like, I don't know, I'm not going to mention names. I'm, just people that I know in my personal life. And they might be down at the pub, like, every week and doing that. And I'm not that there's anything wrong with that, or watching Netflix, every single night. Whereas I'm creating music, I'm building something because it's more fun than watching something boring on Netflix. And that's just me anyway. I'm not saying that there's a right or wrong answer. That's just the way that I am.
Absolutely.
I'd rather sit at home. Not all the time. I like to go out as well, but I'd rather be creating something and just enjoying just the whole process of making music, listening to other people's music, sharing ideas, collaborating with other people, listening to this community is just mind blowing at the stuff that they create. I can see here, Black Covers and Tremor and Russ, all these, and I'm genuinely interested in hearing what they're doing, because it's fun to hear all their stuff and to check out their stuff.
Yeah, it really is. I'm in a very amazing position here to get to talk to you all every week. I get to dig deep and find out who you are. Yeah, and Leela's
Brad example.
Yeah, I mean, man, I'm so lucky. I look forward to this day every week. I really do, because not only do I not have to learn how to do something, which is cool, but I just get to relax with somebody whose music I've listened to, get to hang out, find out who they are, and have all these amazing people around supporting you as well. Man, I just love this day, and it's only going to get better, because I'll tell you what, I'm heading out tonight to go and see a gig, and I'm super excited. I'm going out to see Stephen K. Amos tonight. I'm going to the Melbourne Comedy Festival. I interviewed Stephen K. Amos on this very show, and I haven't seen him for, man, so long. He's one of my best friends. I'm so pumped for it. Have you gone out to any gigs lately?
I haven't been to. I mean, we've been in lockdowns and stuff here. I haven't been to a gig in ages. I'm just trying to think of the last gig that I went to. I think it was like the last big gig that I went to was The Cult.
Oh wow!
That was huge. It was a big band in a small venue, which was great. It was the Emerald Theatre or something like that. It was so much fun. Yeah. And I went with my neighbours, I remember, and we're all kind of similar age, and they're like, we get into this venue, and they're all standing in the back with the beers. I'm like, what are you guys doing? I want to be in the front row. This is The Cult, okay? You guys can sit in the back if you want. I'm going in the front row. So I dragged them all in the front, and we just had a ball. But gigs are fun, whether they're a small gig or a big gig. I've always been a gig kind of guy, not a nightclub kind of guy.
Yes.
And always love just hanging out, watching small bands and just having a drink and checking out the live music, I'm
going to hit you with my famous last question. If somebody was considering becoming creative, when would you suggest that they start?
Today. Drop what you're doing. Get creative. But also because, it's a little bit of a long process, I think. By the time you learn, I mean, if that's not correct. I mean, it depends how if you want to create the way that I'm creating with all the production and stuff, it's a little bit of a long process. But if you just want to get your guitar out and belt out some tunes, you can do that as well. So start today.
Yep. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Like Nike.
The tick is your friend. All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to play one last track. I do want to point people out because Reality Leela has a premiere coming up straight after this show. And I'm going to put the link in the chat. There it is right there. So, folks, head over there and check this out. So it is a track, Hold On Tight, Cold Chaos, Reality and Statistic. So it's a premiere straight after this. So I'll see you over there as well, everybody. I'll have it on the background anyway. But my name will be in there. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, Manny, and spending some time
Jade,
with us.
and have an awesome night. You'll probably have a hangover tomorrow.
I probably we got front row seats, me and my flatmate, and afterwards we're going to meet up with Stephen, go have drinks. I've had many drinks with Stephen before, and they have gotten very messy. But I'm going to do my best not to get messy tonight. So messy's not good. Although I have the day off tomorrow, so that's cool. So, but yeah, thank you, folks. All of the links are in the description. Go and download, stream, go listen. Go get yourself some LillyPillies and taste that tasty fruit on that beautiful hedge that is the LillyPillie. All right, let's go out today with No One Like You. This is the new single. Let's do this. And hang on the line also. And once the show's done, I'll just say goodbye to you and all that stuff. Thank you all for being here in the chat. You guys rock. You're fantastic. I love you all. And I'll see you next time. Will be my opening hour on Saturday for you living in the past. Let's do it. Let's bring up this song. And just let me get it up. That sounded not so good. Okay, man, my internet has just been terrible today. Something's going on. All right.
Straight internet.
Oh, man. just some days, and this is right now. It's just decided. Here we go. So the video's loaded. All right, let's do it. Here's the track. No One Like You by the LillyPillies. Take it easy. Have a good one. Do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better. And we roll. Rise together. Goodbye.
Bye.
When I'm miles away and I'm staring into the distance, when I can't connect to anything anymore, I'm always wondering why my working day hasn't ended. I'm always wondering why I'm wishing my days away. I'm always wondering how to keep away from the madness, and I just wanna get out so I can see you again. I rely on you when I'm going round in circles, breaking all the rules, feeling like a fool. There's no one like you. Pick me up when I'm down, and I know that you'll always be there. There's no one like you. Get me out of the dark, get me out on my feet again. When there's no one there, I'm the one feeling lonely. Is it in my head, or am I pushed to the side? I'm always wondering why my working day hasn't ended. I'm always wondering why I'm wishing my days away. I'm always wondering how to keep away from the madness, and I just wanna get out so I can see you again. I rely on you when I'm going round in circles.